day 2 of our honeymoon to Hawaii, and we did pretty well, actually. We slept until 5:30 this morning, so definitely worth it to stay up the full 24 hours. I feel kind of adjusted to the time zone, and I feel a lot more energized and like I can actually put a sentence together today. I was completely running on fumes yesterday, but we're just finishing packing up, getting ready. We have Diamond Head first today. You have to make a reservation if you want to hike Diamond Head. It's very popular to do. You can make that reservation 1 month in advance. I absolutely recommend that you do. And you'll basically reserve 2 hours where your car can be parked right by the state monument. So we have 8 to 10 a.m. reserved. We're about to head out there, and Diamond Head is a volcanic crater. The volcano went extinct like 150,000 years ago, and it is called Leahi sometimes because the tallest point of Diamond Head looks like a tuna fin. So we're going to hike up there, get a nice vantage point to see Waikiki and the west coast of the island, and hopefully get a lot of good footage while we're up there as well. The weather looks great. It's going to be like 80 degrees consistently every single day that we're out here.
Yeah.
So,
but first, Spam musubi for breakfast.
Breakfast of Champions time.
Okay, so we are trying Spam musubi sort of for the first time. I had heard about Spam musubi before. I'm a big fan of Spam. I grew up on Spam. And where I used to live in Texas and where I used to work, we actually had a Hawaiian like fast food restaurant nearby, and that was my first time trying Spam musubi. Not sure how authentic it was, so this is something we picked up yesterday, so we're going to try it for the first time. I'm not sure if this is going to be very aesthetic, but here we go. It's a lot more fresh. So, if you don't know what musubi is, it's essentially a layer of rice, Spam, which is usually cooked in teriyaki, and then wrapped in seaweed. And I can say that this rice is really good. It's more of like a sticky rice. And then the seaweed that they've got wrapped around it is super fresh. It doesn't have any of that kind of like fishy taste that sometimes seaweed can have. So I would give this is hard because some of the food we've had has been really good. I'm going to say it's like a 3.75 out of 5. Only because we've had some really good food. This is good. This is like a good snack. It's something that I would go to if like we run into a situation where we need something quick to eat. But
I did not expect to like this. I have not eaten much Spam, but this is actually really good. I just love rice as well, and I do like get that teriyaki and that saltiness from the Spam. I'm down. I want to try some more. We saw a bunch of different types of musubi at the ABC store. It's kind of like the convenience store. You can think about like a Buc-ee's or a Quick Trip type of thing, but in Hawaii. So we might have to sample some more musubi. I'm giving this one actually a 4 out of 5. I really like this. So at the Shoreline Waikiki Hotel, they do give you snacks that are complimentary. So I think we're going to take these with us to munch on post-hike. We've got a couple different types of potato chips, original flavor, and then a Maui onion flavor. Mac Nut Crunch looks to be like a sweet chocolatey treat. And then a couple of different types of Hawaiian Sun. Have a Lilikoi passion fruit drink. And then over here, guava nectar. And I've been obsessed with guava since we landed. Just got to the state monument, parked, and we're starting our hike. We did pick up more musubi at the ABC store, as well as Claudia got this really beautiful flower.
I think it's a plumeria.
Plumeria?
My
that
mom
would make sense.
Be very disappointed in me if I got that wrong. So sorry, Karen, if that was wrong. But
Her mom's very into gardening, so
gardening and birds.
she'd be able to recognize it. But now that we are actually more well rested, I did want to ask, what was the highlight from day one of the trip? Had a good night's sleep to think on it.
I think for me, it was walking along the North Shore. Specifically though, I really liked the shave ice. I think that was my highlight from yesterday.
This might sound odd, but I think my highlight was some of the kindness we were shown
Oh yeah.
already by people around the island at those restaurants. Like getting those extra treats at the Honolulu Kitchen. Somebody let us park for free when we were at Giovanni's.
Oh.
And it was just like, hey, the food truck's about to close in a couple minutes. Just go park and you can pay me later. Totally didn't expect me to come back with the money. I did, but I was very kind. So that was awesome. And then I would just say the food from Honolulu Kitchen as well. The drive to the North Shore was amazing. So that's a few highlights. I guess I couldn't choose one.
Definitely, if you are here, first stop after the airport, Honolulu Kitchen. That man running the shop was so kind, not just to us, but
Saint.
it was clear he was kind to everybody who came into that store. So go give them some business.
Yep. Daydream project pro tip number 1. If you have asthma,
Don't forget your inhaler.
bring your inhaler. Claudia forgot it.
As I usually do.
I'm considering going down and getting it for her because it looks like a pretty steep incline. We have a couple hundred stairs ahead of us today.
I'm practicing for Everest Base Camp.
At this point, we could go to the left, make our way up some smaller set of staircases, or go to the right, pretty much vertical, straight shot up to the summit. So we're gonna take it easy, and we'll take the scenic route. Just got back down. The view was phenomenal.
Yeah.
As somebody who grew up in the Midwest, has lived there his whole life, I would say mountains and especially volcanic craters are not in my vocabulary. So it was just stunning. Absolutely stunning. And the timing of that hike for us was perfect.
Yeah. When we got up there, it was sunny for about a minute, 2 minutes, and then
just
all of
enough
a sudden,
time to look and get pictures and things.
Yeah, all of a sudden, wind picked up and there was mist just like pelting us at the top, which was really cool too.
Clouds starting to obstruct the view. It was a cool sight.
Yeah.
It only lasted for a few minutes, but it was great timing. And honestly, the hike didn't take that long. We started right at 8 o'clock. We're back down talking, it's just after 9, so plan for just over an hour and you should be totally good. And I think because we're doing so well on time, we're going to stop for another snack. We just walked off all of that Spam Musubi.
Yes.
So we're going to stop at Leonard's famous bakery here to grab some malasadas before heading over to Pearl Harbor. It probably goes without saying, but if you have a mobility issue, that hike is not super friendly. There's railing pretty much the whole time, but
Yeah.
it doesn't do a whole lot with how uneven the ground is and how many stairs there are.
Yeah, I would also say, like, one of the things I wish I had known is how slippery it would be.
Yeah.
Particularly on the way down. I think we went in regular tennis shoes, and I think it would be better for at least a pair of, like, nicer hiking shoes. The stone, especially if it gets even a little wet, is pretty slick.
And if there's any chance of significant rain or storms, they will close this area, so just be prepared for that, and maybe make that reservation if you can early in your trip, so if something happens, you have another opportunity. So we made it to Leonard's, and also we noticed that right down the street, right there is a Konos. So got there too late yesterday to try that Kahlua pork breakfast burrito. But after trying these malasadas, I'm gonna go over and do a little double dipping here. So breakfast number 2 and number 3. So we're trying the malasadas, basically a Portuguese fried pastry or donut. And we got 3. We did guava, we did macadamia nut, and then the original haupia, which is coconut. So we're trying the guava first.
Outside is mostly like a donut, very messy, and then the cream on the inside though is really good. I'm gonna get a little taste of that. The guava is so good. It's not overly sweet, not like super tart or anything, and it's nice and warm too because these are made fresh. I would give this a 4 out of 5. Very strong 4 out of 5.
So from Konos, I got a bomber, which is essentially a breakfast burrito. And this one should be the Kahlua pork with some eggs, potatoes, then cheese, sour cream, and avocado. And this looks amazing. It smells amazing too.
Good luck biting in.
I don't think I can actually bite through all of this. If you couldn't tell already, I'm kind of a breakfast person. 5 out of 5.
Wow.
No question. I would come back and get this every day. Don't know if I'm going to be able to actually eat a whole one of these, so I might save this for later. Looks to be a busy day here at Pearl Harbor. We just went around, made a few laps to try and find parking, but we didn't get here very early, so that's kind of expected. In terms of reserving things, you do need to reserve your place if you want to catch the ferry to go to the USS Arizona Memorial. It doesn't really cost much, it's like $1 processing fee, but they do run out of space frequently, so you want to do that in advance. And then we also paid $35 each so that we could do a tour of the Battleship Missouri.
Yep.
So that was a separate charge. Another thing, Daydream project pro tip number 2, make sure that when you are directing yourself here, you go to the visitor center, because it's easy to go to the actual military base where you will be promptly told to get out. So
Very nicely.
very nicely, but firmly turn around. So, all right, we're gonna check this out. We just got back from Pearl Harbor, and that Battleship Missouri tour was fascinating.
Yeah.
I think Daydream Project pro tip number 3, don't pay for an expensive tour. You can look online, and there are a lot of like Pearl Harbor tours you can spend $100 or more doing. And sometimes it includes transportation from like Waikiki or other parts of the island, but I don't think it's worth it.
No, I would say that the only perk to going that route is, I will say that the parking situation here is a little rough. We are parked in what I can only describe it as an abandoned lot, which we weren't sure was safe, but we did it anyways.
Yep,
so
they were good.
To have a shuttle come and pick you up would be nice, but I don't think it's worth the price of, you know, what they're charging necessarily.
And then once you get to Pearl Harbor, you take a shuttle if you want to go to either the Battleship Missouri or the Aviation Museum.
Yep.
And that worked out pretty well. We hopped on the Battleship Missouri, waited for about 2 minutes for a guided tour to start, which was super fascinating.
Mm-hmm.
It was really cool to learn some of those facts about the ship, like holds 3,000 crew members in its heyday. It was the last active battleship in the world. And then, of course, the place where World War II was ended and the peace treaty was signed. Something I didn't know, though, is how it's positioned. It's positioned to face bow to bow with the USS Arizona to symbolize World War II's beginning and then World War II's end, which I thought was really great. We also kind of got lost wandering through one of the decks. You can actually go inside and down into the battleship.
Yeah.
And it was like a maze.
Yeah, you have no idea like where you are in space once you get down there. The way it kind of all works is once you go down, you're basically taken through the tunnels and the various ways of the ship via one-way arrows. So that's where we ran into a little bit of trouble. Was we went down thinking we would go down, we'd look around, we'd head back up.
Yeah, it wasn't quick.
No, it's not quick, and particularly if you get stuck behind other people, the passageways are pretty narrow, so it's not like you have a lot of opportunity to speed walk. So
yeah,
I would say that alone, if you're really taking your time, takes a whole half an hour on its own.
Yeah, at least. Yeah, I would say. If you want to do more reading, they have some exhibits set up through there too.
Mm-hmm.
So you could plan to spend, I think, easily an extra 45 minutes exploring the battleship if you wanted to, or an hour. That made us almost late to our reservation for the USS Arizona.
Technically late.
We arrived right at 1:45, our scheduled time.
Yeah.
And we had to wait for the next ferry.
Yeah, which luckily they had room on the next ferry, so it wasn't that big of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
That's not to say that expect that, but I think what happened
that isn't going to be a pro tip.
Yeah,
don't expect that you can show up a few minutes late and still be fine.
Yeah.
I think we're feeling lucky.
Enough people, I think, throughout the day must have missed, and it just the way that it worked out. But that is one of the tips we would give, is that if you are planning to come to Pearl Harbor and you want to do the Arizona, maybe start with that so you can get that time crunch out of the way, because nothing else runs on a schedule, so you can kind of just take everything else out at your own pace. Or the other thing I would plan to do is put the tour for USS Arizona towards the later afternoon. Still come early, earlier in the day, do the Missouri, do the Aviation Museum. We didn't do that. So
it seemed really cool, but that's a pretty big time commitment.
Yeah, it was. Our total trip was 3.5 hours, and that was not doing that museum. So I'm sure that would have added a lot of time.
Yeah.
But if you do that in the morning, then give yourself assume 2 hours for lunch in between. That gives you enough buffer time to, if the shuttles are running a little bit late, gives you enough time to not feel frantic once you need to board the Arizona. And there are plenty of places to grab snacks, there's a gift shop, other things to look at the actual visitor center. So even if you do end up with 2 hours in between, I don't think that's the end of the world.
Yeah, if you're a big history buff, military history person, you could just plan a whole day here. Mm-hmm. Because you can eat, you can see all of the sites and spend ample amount of time at each. It can really be a full day experience if you want it to be.
Yeah, and I was surprised to see and hear that the restaurants, at least the ones over by the Aviation Museum and the Missouri, I mean, they were sit down places to eat, and they had beveraginos.
They did.
So
They did. You could enjoy a beer there.
You could enjoy a beer there.
But I didn't get a whole lot of footage on the USS Arizona. It was very somber. They talked, you're standing above where over 900 naval officers are entombed. So, it's a somber experience, but definitely a worthwhile experience to have. So now we're about to return our rental car and say goodbye to this Mustang, and we are off to Aulani after that. So after checking in and exploring the resort, we worked up quite an appetite. We decided to walk across the street from Aulani to a highly recommended place called Monkeypod Kitchen. They're very well known for their Mai Tais. It's a drink that's won an award for the best cocktail in Oahu, and it's topped with this honey lilikoi foam. Once you mix that foam in there, the drink is delicious, and you really get your money's worth as well because there is a lot of rum in that drink. 5 out of 5.
For our appetizer, we went with the poke tacos per the recommendation of our server, who said that the ahi was just to die for, and these were awesome. The sauce on them just made these really fresh and a great start to our meal. We gave these a 4.5 out of 5.
For my entree, I decided to go with the mushroom and truffle oil pizza. It was topped with oyster, cremini, and porcini mushrooms. It was delicious. My only critique is that I wish there was more white sauce that they used as the base. Other than that, love the wood-fired style, so I gave the pizza a 4 out of 5.
For my entree, I got the bulgogi pork tacos, which after a day of hiking and all the exploring we did, they were hitting different. Super good, super flavorful. My only critique was that they were a little bit spicy. I forgot there was jalapeno on them, so I gave them a 4 out of 5.
And then we wrapped up the night with a huge slice of banana cream pie, which they offered to us for free to celebrate our honeymoon. It was topped with a lot of whipped cream, and the homemade pie crust was very, very delicious. Great way to top off the night. Gave this pie a 4.5 out of 5 stars. So we just got done eating at Monkeypod, which was awesome, but the coolest thing happened. We've had so many nice
people
that we've interacted with so far since we've been here, and the table that was sitting next to us ended up just paying for our tab.
Yeah, so apparently they noticed our honeymoon pins.
We have some honeymoon pins.
And they noticed we were on our honeymoon and pulled our waiter aside and paid our tab for us.
It's pretty amazing.
And
it wasn't a cheap meal as well. We both got drinks, an appetizer, entrees.
Yeah.
It was such a nice gesture and just shows that there are good people out there, so we'll be looking to pay that forward if we can at some
Yeah.
point during this trip.
Yeah, we wanted to thank them. They were already gone by the time we found out, so...
Yeah. Yep, didn't want us to know that it was happening, and yeah, wish we could thank them. Maybe we'll run into them at the resort tomorrow. So we checked in today. It was a little bit of a surreal experience. What were your first impressions?
I think it just felt like a very different vibe from what we had been doing so far. I think everything else felt very, very local, felt, very island and chill. And then when we got here, it was just like paradise. When you think of Hawaii.
It was idyllic.
Yeah.
Everything about it. I mean, I was just flabbergasted. And we didn't record so much of that experience because we just wanted to be in the moment, seeing Aulani for the first time. And it lives up to the hype. And no matter the advances in technology, with the videos that you can watch or the photos you can see, just nothing can match that experience of being here live and seeing it with your own eyes.
Mm-hmm.
And so we took some time to just explore the grounds and orient ourselves to the space. Of course, Disney trip, have to get your refillable mug so you're not paying an arm and a leg every time you want coffee or soda. I think this was $24.95, I think, for unlimited refills of Coke and Powerade and all of that
Juice,
good stuff. Juice, iced tea, coffee, hot chocolate, things like that. We were also greeted with some celebrating our honeymoon pin, or buttons, I guess, which were great.
We also got a button for being here on the resort for the very first time.
Yeah.
So we got 2.
Yeah, the service upon just checking in was great.
Yeah.
And they give you a map. They tell you where everything is. They told us how to pick up our armbands and towels. You have to wear these. Aulani, the pool area, isn't just open for anybody to come in and use during the day. So they do check those. And then we did not film a room tour yet. We are in our room, but we're actually going to be switching rooms tomorrow. So we did get a deluxe studio. So we're staying on the DVC side of Aulani. That's the Disney Vacation Club side, and explaining all of what Disney Vacation Club is will be a video onto its own. But we got an ocean view here, and we have a great view. It's really wonderful. Can definitely see a lot of the ocean. But we're actually facing the Four Seasons side instead of facing kind of into the interior of the resort and the lagoon and the ocean beyond it. So they offered us, because it's our honeymoon and our first time here, the ability to just switch over to the other side of the hallway tomorrow so that we can still basically have an ocean view. We're on the 14th floor.
Yeah.
But face the interior of the resort. So we decided to take that. So we'll record the room once we actually
get there.
get there. But yeah, we were just getting used to Aulani. We were, I don't know, just really excited to be here. And then we ended up exploring the grounds, taking a nice little walk, going to dinner at Monkeypod. And we're going to wrap up the night by heading down to the hot tub to actually chill out a little bit. We haven't swam since we got here, so it feels like we should get into a body of water.
Mm-hmm.
We're excited for tomorrow because we're opening up the day with heading down to the Laniwai Spa. We have a couples massage scheduled, and then a nice dinner at Makahiki tomorrow night. So tomorrow's our pampering day.
Yeah. It's gonna be our slow paced day. We've done 2 days now of go. So
yeah,
it's time to slow down a little bit.
Yeah, time to move into the do nothing but relax phase of this trip.